but we'll go to the East for a second because we had some drama. Some good drama, I think. Trae Young and his coach, Nate McMillan, had a bit of an exchange, apparently, that resulted in Trae just not going to Friday's game. Did not play, was not a part of it. It's kind of a crazy situation. Shams, like what can you tell us about what exactly went down here?
So Nate McMillan has a policy which, as Chandler probably knows, it's a common one for coaches. It can be common where he wants players that play to be present at shoot around. And Trae Young was dealing with a shoulder injury. He decided that he wanted to essentially not participate in shoot around, decided not to participate. He wanted to focus on treatment. And as the day went on, he was given two options to either play and come off the bench, I'm told, or just not show up to the arena at all. And as the day went on, this is a Hawks team that's ravaged with injuries. John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, they have a few guys out. I believe Trae Young actually wanted to play, but when he was faced with these options, he chose not to show up to the arena. And this is really a microcosm of the tension that's existed that I've heard throughout this Hawks team. When you look at from the coaching staff and Nate McMillan, their star and Trae Young, and really the locker room at large. And right now, this is a unique situation because you have a star player who did not play in a game and did not show up to the game, show up to the arena due to an exchange with his head coach. And so it's going to be on Nate McMillan and Trae Young to right the ship because from what I'm told, Nate McMillan's job is safe. He's not going anywhere. So Trae Young, his strained relationship with Lloyd Pierce had something to do with him being out. I don't think the same liberty is going to be given right now with Nate McMillan. He is good, but I'm curious. Chandler was there in Atlanta. He played with Trae Young. He was around a lot of the characters that are there now. What do you make of it? Like, how unique, how rare is this in the NBA?
Yeah, well, first of all, nobody likes shoot around. Nobody likes to go to shoot around. Shoot arounds have kind of become useless in my opinion. But it's more of like a walkthrough. It's more of kind of going over offensive sets, going over coverages. How are we going to guard Luka tonight? Things like that. You're not actually grinding. It's like Thibodeau back in the day used to have teams going like tape for shoot around. That doesn't happen anymore. But this is interesting. Like Trae, he can't do this. He's my guy. They've invested way too much in him. They've given him the keys from Rip. This is his 5th season. You can't do this. You can't let your teammates down. You got to be bigger than this in the moment. I also don't like the idea of McMillan saying like you can come off the bench or don't show up to the arena. Like giving your star player these days an ultimatum probably is not the best idea either. But Trae's got to mature a little bit. He's already been through issues and got Lloyd Pierce pretty much fired. This is now the next coach who's way cooler than Lloyd Pierce and a great guy and a good coach. I think he's got to be bigger in this situation. Shoot around suck. They're annoying. But you're the star player. Everyone's going. Everyone's got to go. But I see where he's coming from, though. Like, you're not going to give a star player, an ultimatum like that. And the fact that he just didn't show up to the arena, respect, not the best idea.
Ultimatums, just in my own personal, they don't work. They don't work in any capacity, any relationship. He did have a tweet, though. This was on Sunday night. Waking up to public statements about my private life. By the way, good for you for waking up at 7:30 on a Sunday. That is fantastic. Naps are cool. I will say, I would argue this. I'd argue the privacy aspect of this.
Yeah,
you guys know I'm not going to know that. Give me unless it's from the 80s. I don't know it. But that being said, like we've talked a little bit about this Hawks team and DeJounte Murray and the booping and the bopping, and then they end up losing games they probably should have won. And the leadership situation, Eddie, do you see this as a mark against Trae and his leadership qualities?
Yeah, and there's been a few already. There's been players there who have wanted out almost the moment they've got there. There've been players there who, John Collins pretty much publicly said, yo, I want out. And it all, there's one common denominator there throughout this entire tenure. And we've mentioned it before, this style of play is tough. And for a guy like him who might be the worst defender in the league, who takes some of the worst shots in the league, who isn't shooting well this year, it's even worse. And so I think it just piles up. I do like that ownership and the front office is basically saying, look, you guys are just going to have to be adults. We're not firing our coach. We're not trading Trae Young. Work it out. But yeah, like a no call, no show is bad in every job. It's really bad in the job where they're supposed to be following your lead in like, a physically demanding thing. It's a terrible look. And you know, whether Trae realizes it or not, and with his dismissive tweet, maybe he doesn't, he's building a little bit of a reputation as a coach killer, as a guy who is just tough to play with, tough to be around. And, you know, Trae's a nice guy. Trae, his family, he comes from a good family. He means well, but yeah, I mean, a little bit of Chris Paul to him in this sense. Chris Paul did a lot of this early in his career, but Chris Paul would not sit out a game out of spite. That's one thing he would not do.
Yeah, you know what I think about the Pippen situation where he didn't sub back in the game after Phil Jackson didn't draw up the last play with Kukoc, and he got shit on for that. And this is one sub in a game. This is missing an entire game. Obviously, that was their playoffs, this is regular season. But yeah, listen, like I said, they have given you the keys. They've given you contracts. They have moved coaches. They have moved players. This is your team. This is the type of situation and distraction that you cannot bring on to the organization. You cannot have. You've got to be bigger than this. You got to be better than this. I wasn't there. I don't know all the details, but Shams does, and this is unacceptable.
No call, no show. Never, ever a good idea. I don't care where you work.